Hey everybody, this is Justin with Parity InfoSec, getting into the business of doing HackTheBox videos as well as any other CTFs that I find around the area. We're going to go ahead and cover this box. It's about to close out for the 4th of July weekend, ForwardSlash. Based off the name, it's pretty easy to determine that there's potentially, and in this case there is, some file inclusion as well as backups that will be able to decrypt and able to get the root on this system. So we're going to go ahead and start getting our window. I'm already connected to the VPN, so we're just going to go start with an NMAP. I generally do a wide scan just to get really quick understanding of what's going on in the box. If you're trying to do any kind of first blood, this is where you got to go. There's better techniques, but you always want to try and get those first couple ports out of the way. Before you start doing anything else, you can run scans in the background. Always have something running in the background. Any kind of recon or cracking should be going on. So I'm going to go ahead. In this case, sometimes I'll go full port scan. Right now I'm just going to do all versions and run scripts. So I'll go back and do 10, 10, 10, 183. For this one, I'll just do really quick since I know what's kind of going on in this box. And I'll run it verbose. So while that's running, I'm going to go ahead and jump in to my browser. All right, so one of the first things you want to do is go ahead and check that website. Got to make sure I use Foxy Proxy to make sure I've got my burp proxy on. Go ahead and cut over to my burp, just make sure it's there. I usually go with intercept off because it's good enough to have it drop in your HTTP history. So at this point, I will go with 10, 10, 10, 183. I get pushed into a website now, /.htb. We'll go ahead and make sure to see what's going on here. So put in the request, response back, location 302, redirect. At that point, I get pushed over here. So we're going to go over and put that in. So with // not being in our Etsy host file, we got to go ahead and go in there. So using the new 2020 versions of Kali, do a little sudo. I like Nano personally. It's just easier for me. Use Vim, VI. You can use LeafPad. You can use a lot of different ways to get in there. Just go ahead and go in there. I usually keep a whole list of HackTheBox DNS entries in here, so I'm just going to go ahead and add this one in as well. So 10 10 10 10 10 10 .183. Hit a little tab and we'll go /.htb. Okay, close and save. We'll go back over and we will refresh this browser, and now we've got a page. Get /kid. You call it security. So at this point we've determined they have been hacked. They were defaced. There's references to XML, automatic FTP logins. We're going to take a look at that a little bit later. I usually try and take a look at the page source real quick just to see if anything stupid was hidden in here. Don't see anything crazy here, so I always like to just take a quick look at the robots.txt file. Being that it's a red box, probably not going to find anything. No. Got some information at this point though. Apache 2429. So everything seems to be good here. Since we've already checked out the robots, we've checked out the main page, it's time to get back to our command line. We can see on the scan that we ran a little bit earlier, same kind of thing comes up, Apache 2429. It's actually got the HTTP title, /gang. And we can see it's running Linux. Pretty easy. OpenSSH, Ubuntu. Usually if you see SSH open in HackTheBox, it's usually a Linux machine. So we'll go ahead and do a Go Buster. From the school of IPSec, I tend to go this route instead of dir buster or directory buster, just because I like how clean it is. Sometimes I'll go that other routes if I'm looking for something that's a little bit more robust with recursive searching. So we'll go ahead and use the new domain that we know about. Sometimes you run into an issue if you put in the IP but it's using a virtual domain. It gets a little funky, so we'll go ahead and just put in the virtual host. /.htb. And then my word list is pretty standard. User share word list. You can see there's a couple different directories, but I like dir buster. And then I'll just use the directory 2.3 medium, put in about 100 thread. And then for extensions, sometimes I'll put in PHP, HTML, just see what pages show up, and then any kind of silly text. You can put in zip as you get a little bit more deeper into a box. If you're looking for something and you haven't found, you can kind of extend out those extensions. All right, so we'll let that go ahead and start. It's running in the background. So we already found one PHP. We'll go back over to this box. A couple of names came up. So you got Sharon, you've got /gang, and in this box I tend to put those things into my notes file. So we'll go ahead and just jump back over. Speaking of note, we got a file there as well. So I'll just do another tab, Control-Shift-T. In this case, I'll go into my HackTheBox files directory. So I'll do a make dir /fingers. All right. CD /. All right. So I'll do a nano, and we'll call this one usernames. So I've got Sharon, /gang, just in case. All right, so we had noticed in that other window, so we'll go back over here, that there's a note.txt. So we'll go ahead and just pull it up in here straight up. Note.txt. Pain. We were hacked by some skids that call themselves the /gang. I know that name. Anyway, I'm just leaving this note here to say that we still have that backup site, so we should be fine. Chive. Either way, we've got two usernames that we can add to the list, as well as we know that there's a backup site out there. So we're going to kind of play around and see if we can find that. We're going to go ahead and nano, and we'll call this vhosts. All right, so here we're going to say backups, backup, archive, things like that. So we'll take and use this file. We'll go ahead and just check it real quick. So cat, and then we're going to say vhost, and it comes back, backups, backup, archive, things like that. Okay, so we're going to go in and do nmap script, and we're going to say http vhosts. We're going to add some arguments, so script args space. We're going to say file list equals vhosts, comma, domain equals /.htb. I'm going to go ahead and direct that just at 10.10.10.183, just to be clear. Go ahead and run it. So if we look at the output, we're going to see that /.htb 200 normal. That's what we expect. Back gets a 302, which directs us to /.htb. Same with archive and backups. But if you look at this one, backup directs you to a login page. So the best way going forward, if we're going to try and put this into the browser, you're going to see that it's not going to work because NMAP did something special for us, but we'll go ahead and check it anyway. So I'm going to bounce over to this box, and I'm just going to paste it in there. Oh, it doesn't work. Again, it's not in the etc host file. So we'll go ahead and sudo nano etc hosts. All right, so in this point, we're just going to come down to the same line. We're going to come to the end of the line. I'll just do another tab, and we'll say backup dot /.htb. and we're going to just define another virtual host. Close that out. We're going to come back over here. Pretty simple. Refresh. All right, so we've got to a login page. We're at something new. This is presumably the backup. Now, that's using NMAP. It's a little bit of hand jam. I could have just wrote in there backup, put all those things into your etc file, and it would work. One other option, wfuzz. So let's go back over, take a look. Okay, so we're going to take a look at it through the eyes of wfuzz. Go ahead and say wfuzz. And then we'll supply a word list. So in this case, user share word list, dirbuster directory 2.3 medium. And then we'll go ahead and just define it. http://fuzz.//.htb. So one of the things you're going to see as you start to run this is it's going to come back with an error. So it hasn't come back with an error yet, but what your problem there is, it's not able to resolve all of these domains. It's trying and trying and trying. It's got 220,000 before it's going to really get to it. So we're going to go ahead and say Control-C. Control-C. So we'll go ahead and clear this out. We'll come back in here. One of the options you have is to ignore. Use a TAC capital Z. It's going to ignore. So now it's not going to worry about it. It's just going to run and run and run and run and run. And you're going to see, and do Control-C here. You can see right here that all of these are could not resolve hosts. So pretty common issue you're going to have when you try to do a little bit of domain enumeration or virtual host enumeration. So if you go into wfuzz, help, it's going to have a bunch of options. You can see that we picked the Z option, so forget about connection errors. Go ahead and ignore them. You can also go by the return code. In this case, 200 works, but 302 is what redirects you to a login page, so it's okay to have a 302. But one of my favorites is actually down here, and this is when you start to look at hide responses with this, or show responses with this number in the code, the lines, the words, the characters, whatever it is. So in this case, you can do wfuzz, got all the same information in there. We'll come back here and put the arguments in front of it and just say, I want to hide, H is for characters, so hide any characters 0. So if you noticed, when they were coming back, they were all 0 char. 0 word, 0 length as well, but 0 char. So we'll just go ahead and say hide 0. Well, I forgot to take the help out. No, got it in there. TAC H. All right. So now you're only going to get the minimum amount of display. It's going to keep everything into one line and only kick back what happens. Now, this is still going to be a long scan, 220,000 virtual hosts. You might mess up the server based on the speed that you're running. So again, I'm going to cancel out of this. All right. So for this one, I've actually kind of tweaked it and made that short list that we used in NMAP. So I'll just go ahead and say vhost, run that, and right away you see backup comes with a 302, 6 word, still comes up 0 lines, but it's 6 words, 33 characters. So it's showing you that there is something there. So just another way to look at some of your virtual host enumeration. All right, so we'll go back to the web page at this point. We've got a login. Again, we're going to go back. Take a look at this. Oh, ignore these dodgy break tags pane. I'm just not the best web dev. So at least he admits it. He's like, I'm not that great. And please ignore all these commands. So we'll go ahead and go back. We'll do our standard admin. No account found with that username. We're going to go ahead and try the same things with the names that we've got. Chiv. All right. We'll just go ahead and put in admin, pane, admin. Nothing's coming up. That one says the password you entered is invalid. When I say chiv, admin, that one says no account found. So you've done a little bit of user enumeration. You could run through all your commands and you can see it all in burp and come down to the logins. Everything is pretty simple. You can come in and put that into your intruder and do user enumeration. Pretty simple. But that's not what we're going to get stuck on here. All right. One of my favorite tools is when there's a registration offering. So we'll go ahead and say, don't have an account, sign up now. Go ahead and click that. You see that it does come up with a register.php. All right, so let's come in here. Done this before, so we'll say mine. It's got a password. It's my password. And I'm going to submit. So now I have a login. I'll go ahead and use the one that I've saved. It's just mine. Cool. I now have a dashboard. Dashboard gives me a lot of options. I can reset a password, change username. So let's see if we can do that. New username. Let's call myself Payne. Doesn't really show anything. Go back over to burp and see if it comes up with anything. Post. Payne. Response. Comes back okay and just kicks me back to this page. If I say cancel and I go back here, my dashboard says my name is still mine. That didn't work. Don't want to sign out. Ooh, there's message here. Let's go ahead and take a look at the page source. Although this box is made purely for fun, all facts included are completely true. Obviously, not the random number at the end. Please take care of our planet. We only have one. So, this is what looks like just a message left by the creator. So we'll come back over here. We'll go back. I've got a Hall of Fame. Appreciate everyone. It's a nice little Hall of Fame thing. Throw out to HackTheBox team. Take a look at this page. Looks pretty fixed, pretty standard. Nothing that you can mess with. So go ahead and close that out. Close these out as well. All right. So back up. Last page we're going to take a look at is change our profile pic. It's asking for a URL. This is where it gets into some of your odd territory of remote file inclusion, local file inclusion. So let's play around with this. It's not letting me mess with the window. Can't click anything in there. This has all been disabled while we try to get back on our feet after the hack. So, I actually missed that whole message right there. Not going to be able to mess with it. Can't do anything. Or can you? So, we'll start by going into Inspector. And we're going to take a look at this. So, Inspect. We'll click on this. Come on. So we'll look at the form. The form has all this information. Disabled. What if we were going to take this whole tag out? Just delete the whole thing. Don't like it. Don't like it, don't care for it, don't want it. So we can click submit. That worked. We just can't put anything in the URL field. This one's still disabled. My apologies. So let's take disabled out of here. And we'll take disabled out of here. And let's see if Inspector let us do it. It did. All right. So we will play around a little bit and we'll come back over here. We'll just take a look at what's in here. Just a couple things. So I'm going to do sudo Python m simple HTTP server. We'll do it on 80. And that will make 2 files available. That'll make usernames and vhosts, just as a test run. So we will go in here and say HTTP 1454 is, oh, my number lock was off. So 1454, and we'll say vhost. All right, and that comes back, backups, backup archive. So we can do a little bit of remote file inclusion. One of the things that I tried when I first looked at this box, I'll go ahead and cancel that out. I'm going to copy, we'll do a sudo copy my var dub. I've got a PHP reverse shell. We'll go ahead and just pull that over here. We'll rerun this. What if we were going to just get it to execute PHP right here? Oh, so instead of going back through here and trying to disable, re-enable, I'm going to go straight over to my burp. So where's my post profile pic? Here we go. That's the one that was good. So with that post, we're going to actually take it over to the repeater. So Control R for repeater, Control Shift R to go over. This is a URL encoded string. So if you were to come in here and say convert URL decode, you're going to get that. All right. You can take some of the sloppiness out and just see if this works. So vhost send. So we're going to just say URL encode all characters. I've highlighted that one, so it's just 2F. Send. That did not work either. So did we need that 10. So HTTP // and then we'll go ahead and same thing. We're going to URL encode this bad boy. All right. Send. That time I got the backups. See here, it's not here. Add the HTTP in. Now we've got the backups, backup, archive, all that. So now I can play around with some stuff. Now, does it execute PHP? That's the question. So instead of vhost, I'm going to give it that other command, php -reverse -shell.php. And we'll go ahead and send this. That does not appear to have worked. Nothing. So I'm getting a lot of 404. There's underscores. So that's because I've got new line characters. So let's go ahead and make sure that we have all the new line characters out of the way. There we go. Now we got that back. Let's go usernames. Again, I'm force a habit, hit enter. All right, so there's my usernames. So let's go ahead and try that again. php -reverse -shell.php. We'll give that a try without it and see if it works. Hey, that worked. It pulled up the pentest monkey reverse shell. It's got my 10, 14, 54, 4443. So I need to open up a pipe and see if it works. But I'm looking at it right now. And you can see where it kind of converts over here due to some of the equal signs. We'll go ahead and send this in the browser. Let's say original session. Here's this. We'll just go ahead and copy and then go back to the browser. Control T, V, paste it in there. Now all I see is the commands that are hidden in that PHP, but it's not actually executing PHP. We're not getting code execution. So not necessarily a remote file inclusion. We could do pull information over, but what I want to switch to is we're going to go back to an LFI. So in LFI, we're going to see what kind of commands we can pull up. Using my burp, we'll take this pretty simple. Instead of doing this, we're going to start looking at itself. All right. So we'll start with backup./.htb. Nothing doing. Now, as always, what are we supposed to be doing in the background? We should be running some kind of recon. So I'm going to clear this up and go. So while it's pressing on, oh, I already got one, dev. Can't look at it though. Can't look at dev. Let's see what happens if we put dev into this. Let's go back to where we were at and actually put an HTTP in, send. Oh, hey, XML API test. So let's take a look at this on the page and see what it looks like. So we're going to request in browser, original session, copy, paste it in. So now we see there's an API. An API test, you can do API commands via this redirect. But if I want to actually go to this, let's see, we can see it's at dev index.php get XML test. Kind of basic. But it also says, hey, we need to fix the FTP login. That's a problem. So I'm going to try and request this. This is dev index.php. Dev index.php. All right, still coming through. Let's take a look. That's all we got. So we'll go ahead and try doing PHP as an extension. Seems to be clear. Oh, we got a bunch coming up. So we've seen register, we've seen index, we've got the login page, the welcome page. So you've got your dashboard. We kind of looked at the Hall of Fame. There's a config PHP. Let's take a look at config PHP. Config.php. Nothing. View page source. Nothing's coming up. Let's see what happens if we put this into our command line. Config.php. Okay, comes back blank. Same deal, no problem. But right now, we're really not doing local file inclusion. We found an oddity with API. And there's an API PHP as well. So let's take a look at that. Let's try and dig that a little deeper. Removed all code to actually change the picture after they attacked us. Simple echoes as debug now. But we already found the mistake, which allows you to request the page through the profile picture redirect. So if I come in here and I say dev we've got the API. So that's up and working. What can we do with that right now? Well, one of the tricks that you can use is to do PHP file encoding. So we're going to filter it and then bring it back in. So easiest way to do that, do PHP // filter. And then we're going to say convert dot base64 encode. And then you're going to give it a resource. Code resource equals api.php. We'll get rid of all this and run it. We've actually got something back. So we're going to take this, just going to copy it, take it over to the decoder, and we're going to decode as base64. And we now have the PHP for API. And at this point it says that it must be a logged in session and the address cannot be 127.0.0.1. Then you're going to say user must be logged in to use API. That tells us that you need to be able to do it from the box, but by redirecting, it is giving the 127.0.0.1 address. So that's pretty handy. What else can we pull? So let's go back to our repeater. All right. Well, let's take a look at login.php. Ooh, that's a nice one. Ooh, come on. All right, so copy that, take it back over to decoder, paste it in. All right, here's the PHP. So make sure they're logged in. Session equals logged in equals true, and that is set. Then we're going to redirect to welcome.php. Okay, you can require the config file. We can take a look at that here in a minute. And this is check if the password's empty. This is a normal login page. As you go down here, you don't see any kind of hidden information. So we'll go back over here and we're going to try config. Config.php. Send. We're going to take this, copy it, bring it back over to decoder. Same deal. All right. Look at that. We got a database with database credentials. That's kind of odd. This is credentials for the temp database while we recover. Had to back up old config, didn't want to get it compromised. So this is just a temporary thing. This is not for the end state. Okay, I see what you did there. Cool. What else can we look at? We've kind of determined that we're sitting in that main folder where you've got the index, the login, the config. That is where we're sitting at. What if we want to go somewhere else? Let's just do the basic test. So we are going to say /etc/password. Can I get the password file? Yes, I can. Yes, we can. We'll bring that over here. Look at that. That is nice. So down here we do see that there is a set of users for Pain, Chiv, and there's another one for MySQL. All right, so we have determined that we have local file inclusion. We've pulled down a few things. The question is, where can we really go with this? Well, what if we want to look? Because when we went to dev redirected us somewhere else. What if we just want to look at dev? Okay, so we'll go to repeater. We'll type in, I don't know, sitting where we're at, we should be able to just say dev index.php. We're sitting in the right www root. So we got something back. That file does exist. And we're going to take a look at it. So again, it's making sure that you're logged in. You're not at 127.0.0.1. Going to redirect you to ..login, so it's going to back you out of the dev folder if you don't have permission. Here's where it built the API, and there's your FTP login. There's some more code down here though. So request method, got to make sure that it's a get, and then it starts going through the regex, and it does have what it had before, and then a stripped down version, so it's not going to go through looking for IPs. And a preg match. So that is usually a bad sign. We'll come back to that here in a second. Oh, I got FTP login. So if FTP login, chiv, nobody likes /. We've got this, but there was no FTP, right? Didn't exist. We'll go ahead and see if we can reuse the credentials. So I'm going to copy this, the whole thing. We're just going to try a really basic technique of trial and error. Chiv at /.htb and paste in the password we just got, and we have Chiv. Let's take a look, see what's in his folders. All right, so not seeing the normal user.text. So this might be a user1, user2 situation. Let's go ahead and start doing some enumeration of where we're at. So var HTML. That's the note, the index, and the defaced. That's it. So we got to figure out where the virtual host is kind of sitting. In this case, we can see there's backup./. But if you didn't know that, and we're still back here at the home directory, how can we figure that out? Just a normal find, and then we'll do a slash name. And then what did we have? We had config.php. So you can see right here, we'll go ahead and cancel it. It does show var www backup /. Another way to go about this when you're doing that is to take redirect it to dev null. So all your errors are going to go out. Now we've cleaned it up. Super easy to see that, right? One of my favorite tricks. So we see where the directory is. So we'll just go cd var www backup. Let's take a look, see what we got in there. API, config, environment, Hall of Fame, index, login, logout, profile, register, update username. Wasn't really successful. Maybe there's more to that, but let's go ahead and take a look at the dev directory. Index. So cat that index, and it should look a lot like the one that we already took a look at when we got those credentials. All right. So there's still no FTP. The FTP does not exist as far as we can tell. You can always go in here. Netstat, Antup. We're going to see there's a 3306 for the MySQL database that is running. 53 for domain name services. 22, that's how we SSH'd in. Hello, that's us on that link down there. And that is it. So we're not going to find FTP. Let's just go back to the home directories. cd home, ls, lia, cc chiv pane. They're both readable. So we're looking at chiv. Let's take a look at pane. cd pane, ls. Hey, we can take a look at that. Cat note. That worked. Cat user text. Nah, not going to work. Not permitted. But there is another folder in there. And that is going to be the encryptorinator. Encryptorinator? I don't know. Let's see what's in there. There's a ciphertext and the encryptor. They're readable. They're not executable, but let's take a look. Cat encryptor pi. Okay. Ordinal encryption, rolling key. Okay. And cat ciphertext. Garbage. Cool. So we're going to come back to that when it comes time for root. But for right now, you could use linps. You can use some of your other tools. Go ahead and take a look at some of the options. Let's just try a sudo l. List what's got sudo. We've still got it saved in here. May not run sudo. Okay. ls lia. Come back in here. Same thing. So we're going to go ahead and start pulling some tools over. So we're going to go to my favorite directory, dev.shm. I'm going to go ahead and clear it up. So at this point, I'm going to come back to this directory. We're going to stop pulling files from here, and I will just do var www html, and then I will do my HTTP server from here. Cool. That's running. Bring over some of my favorite tools. So I'll just do I always like to do a which. Okay, so that's there. That's good. It's probably a curl also. Yeah, but my favorite's wget. We'll just do a 10, 10, 14, 54. Do a slash lin enum.sh. It's here, so we're going to do chmod, give it some permissions to be able to execute. Show, and we'll go ahead and run that right now. Whoa, not so much. All right. So as it runs through, you're going to see a lot of the same stuff that you usually see. Come all the way up to the top, you're going to see that it is /, and this is the version of Linux it's running, 18044. Bionic Beaver, we're logged in as Chiv. Here's the list of group memberships. So Pain has an extra one, backup operator. So we're going to come back to that. We're going to come back to that again as well. All right, as we go down through this, Chiv doesn't have much else. Normal environmentals, nothing crazy. And then this is where I start to look for what can we execute, what can we do. So there's your standard cron jobs that are being run. IP information, there's no other IPs. We're not running a Docker. It's not running a Docker IP, so we're safe there. We've already looked at the netstat stuff. And these are the processes that are running. All right. Python. Get your MySQL. So there's your SQL running. Everything is pretty much system, root, MySQL. Here's all your Apache from your www root. This is all the work that I'm doing. And this is everything that's kind of sitting up in that tier. So the binary permissions. So nothing crazy from that display. So in an effort to just kind of pound this in, we're going to try and just go with a wget. Again, 1010, 1454, and I'm going to do linps. Becoming a new favorite. Enum has been around for a little while, but this one's starting to help just in terms of the ease of looking at things. So we'll go ahead and run linps, and its color, it's pretty, but it is very good at really shooting out like a legend here. So red, yellow, 99%. It's a privilege escalation vector. It's going to highlight some things in red. It's going to look at some of these other things that the user is doing, and then it's going to kind of green out the common things so you don't get too caught up in it. So let's take a look. So we've got ping and NC, nothing crazy. Some comments about the pseudo version. Just reiterating, take a look at these. Nothing crazy here. All right, Chiv, these are all the commands that we're running. Here's all the stuff running as root. So there's one thing that stands out. There's a really odd one, and we're going to find it a different way as well, but everything is red, green, no problem. And then you get down to this one, and user bin backup is just white. It doesn't have any kind of default. It doesn't show as a common app, but it doesn't show up as a highlighted concern. So we'll take a look at that and see what that gets us. We can see that some of the files writable, nothing crazy. Search for passwords. You might be able to find the password from earlier. Doesn't look like it found it when it was looking for password variables inside these directories. That's all good. So one of the things we can look at is we knew there were groups assigned to pane that were a little strange. So groups, pane, and we see backup operator. So two of the things that we can search for, we'll do a quick find. So find slash, and just search the whole computer. Then we'll just type user pane. Now again, we kind of ran into that one problem. So let's go ahead and do a 2 caret dev null. All right, so these are the files that belong to pane, and that is where you see the user bin backup. It's always a nice little check because we know that he's able to do some stuff. We also see var backups config php.back. So let's see what we can find out about this one. File var backups config.php.back. Probably not going to be able to read it. No read permission. We'll go ahead and do file user bin backup because we know this is dealing with backups. So we see it, backup, not stripped. It looks like we can do it. So let's see if we can get it to do user bin backup. And we have the sticky bit. So we can run this as pane. So this is where you start to get into how can we pivot into pane. So pane has this application, it can do stuff. Let's take a look at it. So user bin backup. This is his own written backup viewer, not reading the right file yet. Only works if backup is taken in same second. So it's looking for this file. Does not exist, so it exits. So nothing's in there, so we'll go ahead and make dir backups, cd into it, and then we'll go ahead and say echo that into that. And it's there, so there's nothing there. So what if we say user bin backup, and then we give it that file? Okay, it's looking for a different file. So what's important to notice here is that it's taken in the same second. So it gets really funny how to do this. You've essentially got to get it to run at that speed, that time. Now, what this is doing is we want to be able to read that backup file. That file right there. But to do it, it's got to be made the same exact time. It's really strange. So there's a couple ways that I did this, and that was that it's important to run them in the same second. So you want to make a link to that file that you want to read. Whatever the file is, you want to link it with the name of the second that you are running the program. So you have to run two programs back to back. So if I were to do this and then do it again, user bin backup, you see how it has the same file it's looking for. because it was taken in the same exact second. So what we've got to do is name a file. In this case, we're going to name a link the exact same second. It's really about trying to find that name. So if you run user bin backup, you're going to be looking for the last line. So in this case, let's push that into tail. You only want the last one. Okay, so we got the last one, got the last line. We need that information that's in that exact thing. Well, you can do an awk, and you can separate it by space. And in this case, we've got to tell it what do we want it to print. So we're going to come up here, and we're going to say bracket print the second variable, because in this case, if you break it up by space, this will be the first variable, this will be the second. All right, so we're going to print 2, and then we're going to just end it just like that. Boom. So now we have that information. So there's that file in here. So we're going to just rm star, get rid of that file. I'm going to echo hello, and we're going to do it, and we're going to use a backtick. The backtick allows us to execute a script. And so I'm going to try and run this, and hopefully we're going to capture this input. And because it's all inside of a backtick, which it's not, backtick, okay, it's all inside of a backtick, it should copy hello into whatever this is. Okay, so let's see what we got. So cat the 906 hello. So we can see that if you put this bracket into backticks, you're going to be able to execute this code to get the name. So like I was saying, we're going to link it. So we're going to make a link. It's going to be ln, and then whatever file we want to read. So in this case, let's just go all out. Let's read home pane user.txt. But we're going to name the link this command, because it'll run this whole thing as one command. Got a little crazy there. It jumped lines on me. We want to do that. But then let's see what we got. So cat, all of them. Permission denied, permission denied. Well, why couldn't we link it? It's there, I just can't read it. But because user bin backup allows us to read it, and it's going to be named the exact second that it was created, we can just go up here and then run user bin backup. And that right there is the user string. Now, right now, HackTheBox has gone to dynamic strings. So every time you reset the box, you're going to get a different code. This is not the code that I got when I originally ran this, but this code is valid for this session. Once the box reboots, it's going to randomly generate a new code. But that right there is user. Now we've been able to execute things as pane. There's a lot of things we can do. When we did our search, I'll just go back up. Before we started doing all those codes, we checked for what user pane had. So there's that config backup. So let's go ahead and try the same command we've been doing, but let's see if we can pull that config backup. All right, so there's the ln user.txt. So we'll just delete this, and we'll pull this over. Paste that in there and run it again. And now we have the code. We have the PHP that is that backup. So this is pane with the other SQL password. Well, we can try and log into SQL. We can also try to just log into pane. All right. We'll see if this will work. We'll try just su user pane. We'll try supane. Gives us the password, so let's go up here. Copy, paste. We are pane. Awesome. So now we can go back. Hey, we're in this file, cat user. Perfect. Everything is now user 2. So now we got to go back and try and get the root. First thing I like to do is let's HackTheBox. What can we sudo? All right, so sudo, we can mount, we can unmount, and we've got Lux with crypto. This is a very pain in the butt kind of execution that I had to do. But crypt setup, Lux open. Okay, the files we want to look at are in the system. Let's go ahead and take a look at the var backups, because this is all about backups. This guy's allowed to do backups, so this is where he's at. So cd var backups. There are a bunch of files. There's a note. Let's see what cat note is. Chiv, this is the backup of the old config, the multi-password we need to actually keep safe. Please do not touch. All right. Sweet. So that was the one that we read, and it gave you the password, got you into Payne's account. Let's see what is sitting, because I always love directories, and this one says backup operator. So as a group user of backup operator, he's allowed to go in there. So let's go cd recovery. We have an encrypted backup image. So we'll go file, encrypted backup image. Hey, look at that. It is a Lux encrypted backup file. So as the backup operator, Payne is allowed to use Lux encryption, and this file is Lux encrypted. You can also mount and unmount. So let's take a look at that sudo L again, because it's very specific. You can do a crypt setup Lux open asterisk. So it should be anything, right? And you can mount, but you can only mount the dev mapper backup dot mount into dot mount. And you can only unmount /mount. So based on where you're at, dev mapper backup needs to be where we can see the encrypted file structure once it's open. So we're going to go ahead. So sudo mount dev mapper backup. Oh, it's not there. Doesn't exist. We got to make it. So in order to make it, we've got to do Lux open. So sudo crypt setup. That's good. Lux open. And then we're going to apply this to that file. So in this case, encrypted backup image. So we're going to try and open that image. Command requires device mapped name as arguments. Cool. So we need it to be mapped into this folder, dev mapper backup. So let's go ahead and exit out of this. I want to go to cd dev mapper. I'm going to try and run this command. Now I got to change the file. So sudo crypt setup Lux open. We're going to say var backups recovery encrypted backup image, and then we're going to put it into the folder, since we're in dev mapper, of backup. Enter passphrase. So in this case, we're going to use the password that we got from Payne. No key available with this passphrase. But we forgot about one file. So back in Payne's directory, so if we go back here, encryptorator, got ciphertext and encryptor.py. We've got to be able to decrypt that ciphertext. There's a couple ways of going about this. I think I chose the easiest one. So let's go ahead and test this. Encryptor. So we'll go Python. I'll even go another step further. We'll check it just to see. It has no Python association. So we'll go Python, Encryptor, Cipher. Crazy. All right. So let's go back and nano this bad boy. Encryptor, Pi. So it's got an encryption and decryption method. So I'm going to go ahead and pull both of these into the dev SHM just because I don't want to mess with them out on the drive. So we're going to cd back, and then I'm going to copy the encryptor to dev SHM. TAC R. So cd dev SHM ls. All right. So it's in there. So we're going to nano this bad boy. And we're going to look at this. In order to decrypt, it wants to encrypt, and then you would decrypt whatever was encrypted. So we already have the data. We need to be able to read in the file, and then we got to be able to decrypt it with a variety of words. So we're going to go ahead and tweak this to do what it needs to do. I want it to be a little bit more robust. This is just one single definition modules. So we'll go ahead and just say, you know, pound bang bin Python, just so we make sure that it's executing as a Python, everything feels good. I'm going to go ahead and bring in system and string and time because we're going to kind of play with some of these. So we're going to import sys. I tried to do enchant, I couldn't quite get it, but we'll do string time. All right. So we'll go down and define main. Silly mistakes. Define main. And we're just going to cut at that. All right, so I'm not going to go too crazy, but I'm going to bring in words, and I'm going to bring in the file. This is how I did it. Everybody's got their own way. Words, so we're going to open, and I'm actually going to call this a system arg. So when I wrote this, I really wanted it to be kind of plug and play. I was in the middle of some of the offensive security, AWAE, where it gets you a little bit more Python programming experience, and I wanted to play around. So I went ahead and did, let's make it a little bit more robust. Let's make it usable by anybody that walks up. So the second one, the file is going to be open, and it's going to be the same thing, sys argv2. So 0 is going to be this program. 1 is going to be the first thing. So put the word list first. Put the file that we're trying to open second. And the same thing, we're going to put it into a read format. Close that out. All right, so I'm going to say f content. So these are the file contents. And then we'll do file read the whole thing. Come down. So for line in file, for line in words, we're going to actually do it this way. We're going to take those words and we're going to apply it against this decrypt method over and over and over again to find some words. This is where enchant, if you can get PyChant to work, it will look against a directory and it will determine if there is an actual word when it spits out the outcome. We're going to do it a little bit easier on this one, but we're going to take plain text equals decrypt. So we're going to run that decrypt module, and we're going to say line. And one of the problems I had was it wasn't stripping off white space at the end, so I just did that. So take the line -1, go back 1 character. We're going to go ahead and apply that to the file content. So we've read in the string from the file, and we're going to try and decrypt it. And then the result is just going to be a simple list the plain text, because it's gonna bring everything in as an array. I just wanted to list them out. So list plain text, close that. One of the things that I was trying to find was, can we search through the material? So pretty basic. If whack_var in plain text, so if that shows up in the plain text, we're going to say go ahead and print the whole line plus put a colon, my bad, plus, and then I had plain text. So by saying that, the line is actually going to be the word. So take the word from our word list, which is basically our password, and then print out the plain text. That way you can kind of take a look at it. Chaos. All right, so I've got that. I say print the plain text, the line, everything good. So down here, I'm just going to get rid of these lines because they don't really matter anymore. But I am going to say, you know, let's launch into main. This is just standard formatting in order to get it to run clean main. All right. So I'm going to beef this one up a little bit. And remember what we said. There's 3 parts to this. We're going to go the Python, the word list, and then the file. Now, this system, let's see if we can cat that. Cat user share. There's no word list. All right. So we're going to go ahead and wget that from the system. So we'll go back to our machine where we're at. I'm going to go ahead and cancel this. I'm going to cd to where we want it. User share word list. We're going to do rock you. Couldn't find it for a second there. And we're going to see what we get. Okay. So sudo python simple HTTP on 80. All right. So I'm going to wget 10, 10, 14, 54, and I'm just going to bring my word list over. rocku.txt. Oh, that's a big file. Maybe that was a little bit extreme. I did all this on my computer. I actually ported everything off. But in this case, I'm just going to try and do everything on the victim computer. Do all the processing there, handle it all. So I got rocku. All right, so we're going to go back and we're going to use the encryptor. We're going to say rocku, and then we're going to say ciphertext. It doesn't have Python. Which Python? Okay, so I put it, originally the script was written on my computer, so again, this is just a factor of it's in user bin Python. So right here, we're just going to say user bin Python. Exit out of that, and then we'll try it again. I'm not actually seeing a display, so it's hard to know what we're getting out of this. Hopefully it's going through the code and it's not finding a line. All right, so now it's starting. So there's our first. Team A report siempre. We did say, hey, you like my new encryption tool, pretty secure, huh? Anyway, here's the key to the encrypted image from var backups recovery. So we know that that's what we're looking for. For the most part, this decrypted. There's some extra here, but it's safe to say that there's a potential that this is the password. But you notice how it kind of shifts? So it's a little funky with the unicoding. but we'll go ahead and say Control C. And we're going to try and type this out ourselves. CB pound or exclamation 6 bang percent SDH8LJ, and we'll just keep going. The fun password C2CF. We'll see if that works. Okay, so we'll go ahead and go copy that. All right, so let's go back a whole bunch of steps before the originator and see what happens. We're trying to unlock this and put it into backup, so we got to get back into dev mapper. There's our command. We'll go ahead and run that. Paste in our password. And it completed. So ls, we have a backup and a control. All right, so cd backup. Nope, can't go in there because it's not. That is the file reference back to the other one, but we got this control file. Okay, so now we have to mount it. So sudo mount, and then we're going to mount. Watch this. Backup. Oops. I'm supposed to be one./backup to whack. We want to have this in a different drive. So I want to go ahead and go back to dev shm. I have that. I'm going to make dir back mount. CD mount. So this is where I want to put it. So by using sudo mount, I can say dev mapper backup and then ./mount. Password for pane. So paste in the password for pane. Sudo, sorry, user pane is not allowed to execute bin mount this. So let's try that again. Sudo L. What can I do? I could do bin mount dev mapper backup to mount. Sudo mount. So let's get real specific. So sudo bin mount, and just copy the command as it is, dev mapper backup ./mount, because that is what we're authorized to write. That command right there. Oh, I need to go back a file. Jeepers creepers. So now this command right here matches our sudo command from below, and we're outside, so it's going to say put it into the mount directory. Boom. cd mount. We have an ID RSA key. Well, let's cat that bad boy. So that is a private key. And knowing how far along we are in the box, that should be the root private key. So in order to do that, we've got to try and use that to cat in. So if you're going to do SSH, just because that's the easiest one for me, root at localhost. See if it'll let us do that. Yes, okay. Don't know the password though. We're going to run that same command, but we're going to do I, and we are going to say ID RSA, and we are root. So we gave the RSA key directly to the SSH and said log in with this SSH key. So now we're root. We're going to be able to do everything we need to do. So we'll go ahead. We're in cat cd root. So we're at ls. There's a root.txt. So cat root.txt. Ta-da! So under these current dynamic flag structures, you're not really able to verify, validate. One of the things that you're seeing a lot of people do is just do an MD5 sum, and you're going to do it on Etsy shadow, because you can only do that if you are running as root. So just verification, Etsy shadow. That is the MD5 sum. Thanks for watching the video, taking the time. If you have any questions, comments, put them below. Please reach out to me if you have any concerns. Here's a page of who I am. I look forward to doing some more videos in the future. Right now, this is the first video I've done real time as the box is releasing. So please put your comments in the bottom, and I'll see you guys next time.